Hi, folks. Who's going to be first in the room today? The anticipation. Waiting on the edge of your seat. Who's going to be first in my live stream? We're waiting for it. We're waiting. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. The green flag has come down. Let's go. Who's going to be first in chat? Is it Fred Hinkle? Is it Colette? Is it Jess? Is it Eugenia? Is it Neeks? Is it Doggy? Is it Mr. or Mrs. E-Rock? Is it the scores and scores of faithful regulars? It's Mobs, yes! He wins the prize. But I didn't go buy the prize. By the way, hello Mob, how are you? Hey Snapshot, I was just thinking of you the other day. I hadn't seen you for a minute. I hope you survived Thanksgiving. And Sniper, I hope that when you had Thanksgiving yesterday, I want to make sure that you dressed your turkey. Put little tinfoil boots on it, and there you go. Did you dress your turkey yesterday? Oh, it's icy here today. I drove a few miles away to Walmart. Not the one I normally go to because it's become so ghetto. But it was cold. And not having that defrost, I had the windows cracked so my windows wouldn't fog up. That was a nice brisk ride at 65 miles an hour. I'm thinking, can you imagine riding a motorcycle in this? That's good, Snapshot. I hope you and yours and kidlets are doing fine. Took me 3 hours to do that border within the puzzle. It's the outline of the phonograph in the puzzle picture. Now, is there something wrong with me? I'm very good at puzzles. I've done them since I was a little kid, and I just took it up this year. That yellow and black border of triangles was extremely hard. This is the puzzle. This is the actual puzzle. And I've learned something. When I was a kid, puzzles weren't like this. That is the puzzle picture. That's the green vent intake for the HVAC in the house. But that picture, that colorful picture is records, albums, concert tickets from 50s, 60s, 70s. That is time consuming. Time consuming. I love the picture. And I'm learning because I read and I've heard that as you get older, you want to challenge your mind. Yeah, Snapshot. It's one guy said in the chat the other day, he said, I can't do puzzles. He said, I'll use a hammer and super glue. Yep, there it fits. The key to preventing Alzheimer's is to use your brain and stretch it. Getting uprooted from my employment, forced out, doing something totally different, learning their matrix, teaching myself how to do plumbing and install my hot water lines, and figure out problems, and learning to problem solve my own house has been frustrating and yet very richly rewarding. Oh, Mom, thank you for that. Just you and your wife's friendship is a gift to me. But thank you in advance. And I appreciate you. Colette had recommended a song to me that I never heard. I did a short of it this morning, just a bit ago. The artist is Break Rust, Walk My Walk. What a timely song. If you don't like my style, if you don't like the words that I say, you can go kick rocks. Hi, Angie. How is Nene doing? Man, I miss her presence in here. I miss seeing her. She is so cool. Went to Walmart. I don't see any price reductions on a damn thing. They used to have promotions. They used to do things. I went in there and I found that these juices right here. Let's see, where is it? This is Mott's, but I get the juicy juice. These went up a whole $1. Now it's $3.45 to $4.45. What is driving the prices to continually every freaking week in the grocery store to keep hiking up? What's driving this? What is the reason for this? I spent $119 in groceries today. Did I buy steak? Did I buy filet mignon? No. I bought a double pack. There's 8 cans. The tuna, a couple cans of olives. These are $1.97 each. If I can get the screen thing off. $1.97 for medium black pitted olives. I love olives. Tina used to have them all the time in here. Cans of the cut carrots. And it's really funny because you buy the Kraft macaroni and cheese of these are dirt cheap. This is $2.97 a box. And I buy them because I get off of work, I'm tired, boil the water, put this in it. I grab one of these. These things, usually, these dial in for, these went down to $1.67, but it's usually 2 for $4. Steamed vegetables, water chestnuts, snap peas, broccoli carrots. I throw in one of those, 1 can of tuna, and it's good bachelor goulash. All 4 food groups in one pot, and you eat. You got your vegetables, you got your grains, got your dairy, got your meat. What else you need? And you know, $119. I bought a bunch of these because the store that's near me doesn't carry them. It's ghetto. They call it Ghetto Mart. The blacks call it Ghetto Walmart. And they will drive out of the way to the other one because the store presentation is better and better customer service, and they have more stuff stocked. But I didn't see any discounts. I didn't see any reason for people to get up at the butt crack of dawn to go blow money in a store. Angie, how was your Thanksgiving yesterday? Did you feast yourself, silly? Black Friday means nothing to me, folks. Cannot do painting on my house today. 30 degrees this morning. By the time it warms up enough, it'll be cooling back down again. That doesn't give enough time for the paint to do what it needs to do. I said, nope. So this 4-day weekend is a wash for getting any outside stuff done. I may go out later and rake up stuff. The wind dies down a little bit. So Michael wants a 5-time. Same look as a deuce and a half, but slightly beefier. More weight. Those come with automatics and power steering. I really want the standard. The power steering would be nice. I'm not going to lie about that. But I'm not in a hurry to go out and buy it. But I look at my little spot where I park my deuce. Still a bald spot, and it makes me sad. I liked that truck, but didn't know what was going to go on, and I cut her loose. I was going to say the next 4 days are turkey sandwiches. Yeah, I started to ask a fun question in the chat hung last night. How many of you had cranberry sauce yesterday? Raise your pink hand in the room. Anybody have cranberry sauce? I was trying to do Thanksgiving food roll call yesterday. The traditional Thanksgiving staples. If you respond to something, just put the initials of it next to it. CS. How many had mashed potatoes yesterday? That'd be MP. So put a hand in MP. Anybody have mashed potatoes and gravy? Oh, Mom. Mom taught me something yesterday. He made a corn casserole. Text messaged me saying he had no corn in the house. He said, I told everybody I'd be making corn casserole, and now it's just casserole. I said, that's funny. Fortunately, Sandman skedaddled over to a relative's house and got some corn. I like that, Mom. I don't think I've ever tasted casserole. I don't think I want to. Of course, if Mom's making casserole, I bet you it's top notch. That ought to be a new idea. Start a restaurant for assholes, for rude people. We have casserole, devil's food cake, and come up with names for stuff. That'd be funny. And if you don't tip the waitress, you get kicked in the butt with a cowboy boot on the way out. You could go to the road grill. Mashed potatoes. How about anybody have yams? Anybody have yams yesterday? I don't know what it is, but yams, you got candied yams and baked yams. Who had yams for Thanksgiving? It's sad, folks. Thanksgiving is the fastest, least publicized, least commercialized holiday. And you know why that is? Because people would rather moan and groan and rant and rave than praise. The Peanut Man. Planters, yes. I like that. The peanut with the spectacles and the cane. Classic American icon. Hey, Angel. Yams, yes. All right, folks. Next up on the Thanksgiving dinner roll call, stuffing. How many people had stuffing and got stuffed? Angel, I'm all right. I ran my one errand for the day. I like when people stand and block the center of an aisle. I start going faster. I drove buses, I drove trucks. It may look like I'm blind, but my vision is good on a big vehicle or in a shopping cart. Like I got an inch between her skirt hem and the aisle over there. And they're gonna stand right there looking at you, and I pick up my pace and I go, whoosh! And the skirt hem goes, whoosh. Jeez, he went through there fast. Get the fuck out of the way. No, I don't say that, but I think it. Why do people do that? You're in a busy store and you stand right there. Cart sideways, your big ass sideways, and you stand there and stare at everybody coming right towards you. What, are you a deer? Are you a damn deer? Let's get hit, Barney. Why do people do that? I move to one side or the other. I get out of people's way. Why is it people are not conscientious? Neeks! Neeks is my fantasy lover. Everybody's got to have a fantasy lover in Durban. And I've never had one. Now I do. I'd like to kiss and smell that raven hair. I'd like her to lean back against me and I put my arms around her and, oops, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And hold her just tightly. Hi, Neeks. How are you? You going out in the country pretty soon, you lucky. But I'm miffed going to the UK instead of seeing me. Really? Really? Are you serious? Oh, you notice that, Neeks? They get up your butt. I've had little old ladies not knowing what they're doing, and I felt the cart into my butt cheeks. And I'm going to have them little waffle designs from the chrome, and I turn around, I'm like, what the hell? And you see this little old lady who's hovered, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. But if it's a grown man or a woman, excuse me, could you get the cart out of my ass? Fajita sausage chicken chop. That actually sounds good. That actually sounds good. Eduardo, that's awesome. Hey, Jess. You did south of the border style, man. I don't care what anybody says. Mexican food is freaking awesome. I can't eat a lot of it because it's corn and tortillas. But I love Mexican food. Good morning, Jane. How are you? What did I eat for Thanksgiving? Oh my gosh, here we go, folks. Let's pull it out again. Let's pull out the trio of Michael's Bachelor Supper. My Thanksgiving special, folks. I mean, this is top of the line. You will not see anything like this. This is what I had for Thanksgiving. This was my idea of a buffet. Yeah, that's it, folks. Boom! Noodles, cheese, tuna, and veggies. All 4 food groups in a pot. No turkey, no cranberry sauce, no yams. How many guys like tuna? Any of the guys out there like tuna? I love tuna, and I cannot lie. I'm a tuna addict. Well, thank you, Neeks. You complimented me. You better stop doing that. I might start drooling on you. Neeks would be fun to me. A lot of you would be fun to me. Even if just platonically. Well, Neeks, she'd have a different meeting with me. We'd be up here doing the video, dancing with myself, She'd put on that silky satin, I'd put on that silky satin, and that silky satin would suddenly cover both of us, and the video would go off, and we'd be back there somewhere. And Niece is laughing. Ooh, that sounds good, Angie. Tuna pasta, yes. Sugar and spice. Thank you, Live Sam. This is a woman's, I don't know what you call this. It's not a sweater, but it is kind of. This was a couple bucks at the flea market. This is a man's shirt that I cut up, and this is a man's shirt that I cut off the sleeves. It's cold today, so I wore some clothing. 30 degrees, I'm not going out there in a spaghetti strap top. No, ma'am. I like being sensual, but when it's that cold, you gotta put on some clothes. Jess, that would be fun. If there's one thing my channel should encourage people to do, young or old, be yourself. Don't break the damn laws. Don't disrespect people. Don't do drugs, but enjoy life. Man, I don't gotta be like everybody else. And I wish Colette was here. She forwarded me. She said, you might want to check out Breaking Rust, Walk My Walk. I never heard that. You don't like my style, you don't like my words, you can kick rocks. I'm going to walk my walk. I said, Colette, that was beautiful. And I did a short to it. Some idiot came in here yesterday, got into it with E-Rock. He kept asking, why are you wearing women's clothes? Why are you wearing women's clothes? And he said, stop asking. And the guy went off with rudeness and said, I can ask whatever I want. I didn't see all that because I was busy ranting. Now, let's unpack this. This is how you do an IQ test of people. Oh, he said, you complain about the Democrats, but you wear women's clothing. Why are you wearing female clothing? And I didn't see that till Eric and I did a recap afterwards. And then he got sideways and smartass with E-Rock. What is it about you liberals and you jerks? And yes, some conservatives that come in here and Christians that say you have every right to argue, to talk, to make your point, but then you want to tell me I can't wear the shirts I want to wear. How the hell does that double standard work? You got freedom of speech, which I agree with up to a point, but if you're rude, well, you lose your freedom in here. But you want to judge me for wearing a woman's shirt, and you keep asking the same thing over and over, and somebody tells you stop, and you get mouthy with them. I can ask what I want. I can wear what I want, boo. And if you don't like it, there's the door, boo-boo. You can go right out the door, boo-boo. And that's what I don't understand about people. I judge. We all judge. But let's judge rightly. It's okay to say that's a wrong viewpoint. It's okay to say that's a false religion. It's okay to say I don't like the clothing Michael wears. Cool. When you go into an art museum, do you like everything hanging on the walls? Some art is not my cup of tea. But guess what I learned? When you're in an art museum, you keep your freaking comments to yourself. You admire things. You walk on to the next exhibit. You don't stand there and say, gosh, that's really ugly. You do that in an art museum. That's like pissing in a punch bowl at a royal wedding. Why would you do that? I love art. And I'm a Christian saying this. I like pornography art. Two women in black and white, naked, leaning, one with her hand on the breast of another. That is art. It's erotic art. And there are Christians who will quote a plethora of scriptures. That is sexual immorality. No, it's art. I love the beauty of two women. I love the expression of two women. I love a woman's body in a pose. Now, what I don't like is when a woman takes her vagina and pulls it wide open like a beef taco for the whole world to see. That, I would say, is just, wow. That's a whole different genre. But I appreciate a woman's body, and why do I, as a Christian, oh, I can't look at that. Can't look at that. Oh, you're going to lust. Yeah, I do lust, but I like it because it's art. I wish I could go to a place with my phone and say, can you print me a big color photo of this? I'm going to get a frame hanging on my wall. Mike, would you really have that on your walls? Oh, yeah. Boy, you better not bring your pastor home. I'm going to bring my pastor over. I don't have the kind of relationship with anybody at church that I bring them into my home. And my roommate is headed down here because I got to pay her my phone bill because she got me on her plan, which reduced it. And I'm paying her like a big wad of money because she's not here, and I would pay her every month. And she's got a collection of mail that's been coming here, so her mother and her are going to come down here briefly to get her stuff, and I will come back after that. But I like who I am, and I have felt guilt all my life. My mother pounded that into me. I felt guilty even when I was having a good time and I wasn't sinning. My mother did that. Then you get saved. Then you got the biblical rules. Then you got church rules. Then if you want to become a member, there's all these expectations. Michael will never become a member of a church. Especially when Pastor told me about a woman that was excommunicated and dropped from the membership back where he was from in Brunswick, Georgia years ago, because she went square dancing. Square dancing is a sin, huh? Long hair is a sin. But I go to church. And I believe Christians should go to church. But there's also a lot of problems in a church. A lot of people that go to the church are inverted nipples. They don't reach out. They don't greet you. There's no passion. And you walk in there and you're like, man, I might as well go down to the funeral morgue. There's more going on in there than in here. At least the plants in the lobby are alive. I should be a comedian. I should talk about these things on the stage. I should do a TED Talk. Because there really is something deep and wide wrong in our culture. And as a Christian man, I'm not allowed to have passion. You read verses like earthly, sensual of the devil. Oh, I can't be sensual. That's earthly. That's of the devil. Context. Why am I passionate? Why do I have such a voracious appreciation for erotic art? Because there's something deep in me that this shallow society of SUVs, dog worship culture, and all that can't do for me. In Hong Kong, 8 buildings in a cluster. Forgot the name of the place. Part of Hong Kong I don't think I went to. But they all caught fire. Nobody seems to know how it happened, but they think one of the workers, the Chinese smoke like chimneys, dropped the cigarette and it ignited the green material that's used so they can work on the building without the wind and the elements hitting them. Well, that caught fire and it melted the twisties that tie the bamboo scaffolding. The bamboo didn't even catch on fire. You saw these things are thick. I see the trucks delivering them and they'd wrap the skyscrapers. They're looking at getting away from that. And they'd wrap them up and they go up all the way to the top and they could walk all the way around the building. It's pretty cool. And because of the heat, it had the chimney effect and it blasted out the windows because the heat broke the glass, got into the buildings. And it was hundreds of feet into the air above the skyscraper. Embers and stuff just ignited all the other buildings. And what shocked me is you got these high rises, and even the old ocean liners like the Normandy, they'd have fire hoses and firebox. You'd open up, turn a valve, and you had water where you could spray a fire on that deck. And buildings at some point in the U.S. used to do that. They had a hydrant on every floor. You turn the wheel, unroll the hose, and you could spray the fire out. I'm going to offend the pet lovers. Please forgive me. I'm not cruel to animals. Don't talk to me about squirrels and mice. I don't like them and rats. They're varmints and they're a problem. They had all these people, 4,000 people were displaced out of their homes. And they had pets. And they were talking about triage and putting oxygen masks on pets. That Hong Kong actually has a funeral home for pets. I saw that when I was over there. I was like, in Commerce City, Colorado, they have literally a pet cemetery. Folks, I'm not trying to be insensitive to your feelings for your precious pet. They're not people. They're not treated or regarded the same as people. Not in Scripture, not in any reasonable society. The Bible says a wise man cares for his animals. And it's talking about you got mules and sheep and stuff. No, you don't abuse animals. You don't do that. But we have taken our passion. We've taken our love for people. We've wrenched it away from that. And now we go goo-goo over a fur baby and call it our child. That dog and that cat is not your child. And women that are that into animals are not the kind of a woman I'm going to get along with because they're not passionate. They're not sensual. They're not deep. They become almost childish. And it's almost a mental disorder, in my opinion, when it becomes that. Triaging for pets. We got an ER room for animals. I'm like, a funeral home for animals. I'm sorry, to me that's just so beyond. And I understand people struggle with church and why they don't go. I don't beat up on you guys. I go because I feel like I need to do it. That pastor is a good preacher of the word, but he does have some things I don't agree with. And I would never disrespect him or his wife. But he holds on to some southern stuff. When I was in Minnesota, wherever I've been, I've said this before and I'll say it. Every town you move to, every church you go to, every workplace you're in, it's a culture. When I was a kid, I didn't like the word culture. I remember my dad would buy milk and it said it had acidophilus culture. I'm like, that sounds gross. So I associated culture with bacteria. But culture is a way that a group expresses and does things, whatever. When I was a kid, I thought the word diversity meant black people only. As I've gotten older, I personally own the word for myself and say, no, it's all of us. And no two towns in America are exactly alike. Whether it's Hibbing, Minnesota, Duluth, or Augusta, or Prescott, or Mammoth Lakes, or Spokane, or Kettle Falls, Colville, where I used to live, Washington, Hong Kong. You cannot say that these places are all the same. But there were similarities. Hibbing was very cliquish. Augusta is very cliquish. A lot of the black culture is very cliquish. They got their culture. And some will be nice to you, but you're really never part of that. You got white women trying to grow dreadlocks, listening to badass rap music, and trying to be black, and the blacks will look at me and go, you know what, bro, that stuff pisses me off. I said, I know, it's disgusting, ain't it? Just like when a black woman's trying to be white. Be yourself. I'm attracted to a black woman who makes herself a work of art, does the cool things she does with her hair, and is classy. I don't want to see her be like a white girl. I don't want to see a white girl become like a ghetto black girl. And you see a lot of that out here. It's just disgusting. The blacks aren't impressed with that. Every place is a culture. And when you're a guy like me and you have passion, and you live in a passionless society, where do I get to go to unload and unleash that? When I lived in Lakewood, Colorado, they had this thing in the mail called summer enrichment programs. I don't like that word. They had a radio station and they called it inspirational praise. Inspiration is such a cheap word today. It's right up there with Kia, Sophia, and Ulta hair salon products and cheapy, crappy names that all end in A. When I first heard the name Kia, I said, wow, that sounds like a really quality automobile. Nope. The Kias have gotten better. But I don't care what anybody says. When you think of things like Rolls-Royce, Bugatti, or as my black friend would say, Bugatti, he did that well, and Rolls-Royce and Bentley, Porsche. You know, back in the day, those names meant something. Now you see a Mercedes and a BMW and you can't tell them apart. I remember one of the ugliest cars was the Saab. They're out of business. I posted a video on Post, if you guys want to look at it, about how things became ugly. They showed escalators and they showed 100-year-old staircases in public buildings, and they were beautiful. wrought iron and oak banisters and curved woodwork and, and by the time you hit the 50s and the 60s, it looks like the architects puked on architecture. No offense, but the Brady Bunch house was tacky. And you saw a big shift. Municipal buildings and downtown buildings looked like somebody threw up on a stick. And you go back to the UK, Downing Street, and you look at old calendars that I had. Look at that beautiful brick and stone building with iron doors and, crossbar windows and such character. And today, go by the average strip mall. You go by there in 20 years. They're beautiful. Tumbleweeds and trash and graffiti and busted out plywood over windows and an old sign where the pieces have fallen off the sign and it doesn't light up anymore. And I'm like, there should have been a law against building strip malls and eyesore businesses. Gross. It just is architectural litter. And the cars today, looking uglier and uglier. These Buick with this big, weird, looks like something a woman would have in the back of her hair to hold it together. I'm like, what happened to cars and trucks? The whole front end of the truck now is all plastic. And it's this tall. We got a flatbed where I work. It's the Duramax diesel four-door Chev, or GMC, I can't remember what. I got in the truck and the hood is built up. I sat down and the hood's up like this. I'm like, what the hell? And you look at the side of a lot of the Chevy trucks today, the door from the window is like a big apron, and I'm like, what happened to style? What happened to it? Ellie! Well, Ellie, if you were next door, I'd have you come over and I'd give you a massage on the neck, your shoulders, and your back. And you would feel like $1 million. The wood paneling. Jess, what are you talking about? What wood paneling? I hope you're not talking about mine. I love my wood paneling. Oh, you had to go to work today. I forgot about that. I'm doing all right. We live in a world today that killed passion, uniqueness, and style. Corporate America wants you to think inside the parameters of the box. Gotta get everything from Amazon. You ever seen a truck go down the road that says Prime? What an ugly logo. Look at the logos on any of these trucks. They're ugly. Remember Smokey and the Bandit? Remember that beautiful truck with that painting down the side of the trailer? Why aren't businesses beautiful anymore? Why aren't businesses cute anymore? Piggly Wiggly. The happy pig. It doesn't matter where I was in America, I'd see a Piggly Wiggly truck or a bunch of containers or semi-trailers on a train in the railroad yards of Denver, and that big old pig. I'm like, that just made me smile. Piggly Wiggly has feeling to it. Food Lion, Safeway, Albertsons, Piggly Wiggly. You looked at the old ads from the 50s of some heating place or an appliance store. They had cute monikers and happy faces and advertisements. Now they come up with these ugly logos generated from clip art. Yuck. I'd love to have a big corporation. I would never call myself the CEO. Never. Oh, you're the CEO? No, sir, I'm the owner. Well, you're the CEO. I'm the owner. At my place, my employees would be customer service summa cum laude. But if a customer called in cussing out and talking rude to any of my employees, I'd interrupt that call and say, don't buy at my stores anymore. You're not going to treat my employees that way. The customer's not always right. Ellie, I'm sorry. Don't overdo it. I wish I could massage you, and no, I'm not being a pervert. I love giving a woman a massage. I haven't done it in years. I used to do it at the rec center. The ladies would come into the sauna or the steam room. Mike, I need my neck and shoulders. It was fun. I like massaging a woman. I get to feel her skin, and I get to enjoy that touch with her. And she gets to enjoy feeling good. It creates a little bond. Our society over here is so like this. I tell the story when I lived in Hong Kong and I was on the MTR and the train was crowded and I actually had a seat. Normally you get on there and you're grabbing a grab rail and somebody's armpit's in your face and you hope to God it isn't hairy and smelly. And this beautiful Chinese woman was next to me and I had a long way to go. And I felt her head go right on me. And you don't have that happen in the U.S. No woman in the U.S. is going to not know you and fall asleep on your shoulder. I didn't move. I didn't react. When I got to my stop, I gently put my hand on her shoulder and one gently on her head. And I said, go ahead, sigh. And she woke up and I said, I'm going to leave. I don't want you to fall. Oh, don't you. And she touched me, thank you. I didn't want her to just fall over and hit the hard seat. And I thought, look at that. I'm a stranger, I'm a man, and they're not looking at me like, oh, he's a creep. She sat there and she fell asleep on my shoulder. It's so sad that our society violates trust. I had a friend named Gia. She was 20 years old. She reminded me a little bit of Ellie. She's a Filipina, but when she was off work, she'd go out and get loaded up drunk. And I said, man, you got to stop all that. She called me, woke me up in my flat in Hong Kong. Michael, I can't get back into the boarding house. I said, what do you mean? The lady said, if you're not back by 10 o'clock, she locked the door. I said, where are you? She goes, I'm in a cab. I'm trying to get to Shangwan. And he dropped me off at the wrong place and I'm walking. I said, let me go out. Where are you at? What road? So I start to walk out. She comes around a corner and she's tipping. I grabbed her. I said, why are you doing this? So I put her in my room. She got onto my bed. She literally slept with her head at the other end. And I laid down. I couldn't sleep. And she fell asleep. And after she woke up, later on, she said, thank you for not violating me. I said, man, you're beautiful. I'm not going to do that to you. You're my friend. But yeah, you're beautiful. And I wouldn't. I'm a gentleman. Now, if a woman wants me to be sweet on her, I'm going to, but I ain't going to do that. And women knew I could be trusted. I don't just grab and grope. And it's weird today. In America, everyone's afraid of touching. You go to Italy and they kiss each other on the cheek. I think they do that in Greece. And we got this phobia. I would like to be able to turn invisible and to fly at great speeds. I'd go see Ellie. I'd go see Neeks. I'd go see a few people here through my channel just to meet them. I dream I'm an eagle. Hello, Donita. Hello, G-Kiss. And thank you for that. We just try to keep it genuine. I'm a man who has passion. I love that song by Men at Work. I'm a man who has two hearts, both of them playing the part. Yeah, I do have two hearts. I'm not in a box. People try to put me there, the glasses. Oh, you're Four Eyes. Oh, you're a geek. I'm not anything but a geek. Geeks make more money than I do, so I'm not a geek. Geeks are rich. Geeks do not have passion. They're interested in software, computer programs, and numbers. I'm not. Donita, what's going on? Steve, how are you? Jack and Jill, right on. It got cold in Georgia last night. The sad thing is, passion is missing. I've learned over the years in this country, when somebody, male or female, is nice, it means they have sexual designs on you. That's sad. How about being nice just for the sake of being genuinely nice to people? It seems the only time you're going to get warmth and kindness is when somebody wants something from you. It's sad. Where in Florida are you, Jack and Jill? And while I'm asking that, go back to the Thanksgiving roll call. We covered mashed potatoes, we covered cranberry sauce and yams. How many had cornbread yesterday? Gina and I talked on the phone. Her and her mother were invited to a couple from the church they go to. And they had Georgia cornbread. Like I said, I'm allergic to corn, so I can't even have that. Georgia cornbread. And in some parts of the country, they used to call it pone, P-O-N-E. I'm not familiar with that, but I heard St. Augustine is like the oldest city in America. And very cool. I never went there. I went as far south as Tampa, stayed there for 3 months, and came up 75 up to Interstate 10 towards Jacksonville, cut off just on the outskirts of Jacksonville to 301 and came all through the country towns in Georgia. I'm glad I took that drive. There were little towns in the woods. I thought, man, this is cool out here. Way better than Augusta. Sleepy little quiet towns, beautiful, green. And I've lived long enough and I've traveled this country many times. I'm a speed limit guy. I'm one of those. You want to pass me? Pass me. Don't tailgate me and don't push. I don't like that. I'm fighting Irish. And no, I don't slam on the brakes. I don't do that. People are fools, they'll run into you. I hate tailgaters. But when I go through those small towns off the beaten paths, you better be following the speed limit because you come around a curve where it goes from 55 to 25. There's Officer Fife right there with his radar gun. And I'm like, wow, that's cute. No warning and a speed reduction from 55 to 25, but I'll see that sign and I'll literally slow that baby down and then take my foot off the brake before I get to him. Right at the sign, I'm hitting 25. And I just mouth the words as I'm staring straight ahead. Not today, Mayberry. Not today. Boom. See ya, small town. That's all the cop has to do is write tickets. Nothing happens here. Gertie makes apple pie. Billy Bob milks a cow. I'm gonna guess them speeders. I had Colorado plates on my truck. I thought, yeah, they'll get you too right now. Lived in Altamonte Springs. I'm not familiar with that. Went down to St. Pete's. The buddy I was staying with had two daughters in soccer. So we constantly, on weekends, ran to soccer games. I thought the golf was interesting, right up against St. Pete. Tell you what, I remember when we were riding on the road, which literally goes over the bay. I'm like, I'd really hate for a big humdinger hurricane to come roaring across there because it really screw things up here in a hurry. Jack and Jill, that'd be cool. St. Augustine would be a good place to make love to a beautiful woman in, I think. I gotta get off of here because my old roommate's coming to pick up her mail and my check for her for the phone usage. She did a plan where she got it down $33. Her mother, myself, and me. And the more people you get, the lower the rate is for all of us. And that's unlimited on the Wi-Fi data. And that's why I got off of my computer. Everything I did by laptop. Now I do it all from the phone. Morning, Johan. I even looked at, when I lived in Tampa, I considered moving to Florida, but things were too expensive and everything was HOA. I did not like that. I thought, I'm not an HOA guy. I'm not into covenants. I'm not into homeowner fees. I'm not into all the Karens that want to tell you what you can and cannot park in your yard. I stayed with my friend 3 months. I had a 95 F-150 in beautiful shape. It had a slight power steering lead. Mike, you got to put cardboard under there. They'll find me if there's an oil spot on my driveway. And he'd get bent. We get in the car, and he'd be cussing. I said, Aaron, what is the problem? That's the guy. He's going to ticket me because I didn't cut my grass. I said, your grass is this high. Yeah, but it's got to, I said, and you liked moving in an HOA where they fuss about everything? And I bought my house with a dirt driveway. I could park an M35A2 in here, and I did. I live in a working class neighborhood, thank you. I don't need no designer Fresh Prince of Bel Air neighborhood that fusses about everything. Yeah. Jack, you would have done good business in Augusta after Helene. This is the city of trees, and it was a mess. From my yard out, looked like a bomb went off. I've only got one tree I got to be concerned about. All the rest I had cut down, and then the one that was good fell down and just missed the house. And it was an oak, so it would have crushed it. Thank you, God, for your mercy. It's always good to see the community, and I like seeing newcomers in here, man. They had people, Jack and Jill, from Alabama. They had the semi-truck with the straight truck and then the trailer with the high sides and the big clamshell. Augusta was so overwhelmed. Major damage. Let's see if I can find this. Let's see if I have it in here. If I can find the photo. Did we get rid of it or did I keep it? Okay, this is looking out. This is from the street looking at my house after Helene had spent its wrath on everything. That's the oak that came down, just missing the roof of the house. This is looking from the porch side towards the street. Cannot see the street. You can see it just missed the porch roof. I spent 8 hours cutting that damn thing. This is a house a couple miles from me that was a upper end neighborhood. An oak came right through the house, split it in half. You can see the bricks are broken above the door. The whole attic and the ceiling is crushed. We had houses all throughout Augusta that were leveled. You had houses that were old, historical. Tree so big, it shifted the entire house off the foundation. Lots of homes totally destroyed. Well, Jack, it's about done now, but they hired all these people from Alabama. And whatever we could cut or move, they came with the clamshell. They picked up. I hired a guy with a chainsaw because I had an electric one. All the power's out. He cut up the trunk. I cut everything down to the trunk. 8-foot lengths, stacked them in the front yard. I wish I had a picture of it. Did I keep the pictures of all that? No, I did not. This was looking down my street at the stop sign. That's higher than a semi-truck. All the cedars at that guy's yard, everything went down. Could not get down there. I walked under the trees. Power lines, it was a disaster zone. 106 mile an hour winds, which is not normal. I moved my truck and Tina's car into the backyard. It literally blasted it with leaves that stuck to the vehicles. If I hadn't moved, that truck would have been under that oak. It would have been right dead center where the oak came down, would have crushed. And this is my backyard after the whole yard filled up with 6 to 8 inches of water. I mean, it just flooded everything. Did not come up into the house, thank God. And this is looking down. Nope, that's the same one. This is my buddy from Jamaica. He lives right around the corner. He still drives that truck around with the big bash in it. Busted the back window. Crushed the bed of the truck. That was a cedar tree. I believe that was a cedar. Let me look closer. I think that was a cedar. We lost cedars, pecans, oaks, and pines. You couldn't get down the street. 30 feet high, trees just went boom, boom, boom on top of each other. Telephone poles snapped halfway up. The big bucket transformers laying in the street. Big, giant, thick tension cables all over it was unreal. And when I was in the house, I didn't know all that. For as old as this house is, I did not hear noise. I heard the wind. But you think I would have heard crack, boom. No. That wind was blowing so hard, I opened the front door, went out under that porch, and it was going shh, like Florida in a hurricane. I was like, you know what? I knocked on Tina's door. I said, I need your car keys. This is a house just down the street from me. Can't see the front. Tree fell, ripping part of the porch apart. We got a house down on the highway down here. Tree fell in an angle right on the roof of the house, still there, growing. The whole root ball straight up in the air, but still enough roots attached. Nobody's taken it off the house. Nobody's living in the house. And I'm like, well, what the heck? Very strange. This is looking at the entrance of my driveway. My truck would have been underneath all of that. You can't see it. It's in the backyard. I felt urgency. I felt like you need to move the truck and the car. It'll be all right. And I just felt it again. I knocked on her door, said, I got to move the truck and the car. We got a hurricane. Went outside, went under the front porch, standing water that deep in the driveway. Little acorns are blasting me in the face. Little sprigs of leaves and twigs are just hitting me, getting pelted. Started the truck, car, moved it into the backyard. Oh my gosh. An hour later, the tree fell. They would have had to tow my truck out. It would have crushed the cab. I would not have been able to get in and start it. You think God doesn't do that? I'm here to tell you, he does. You think God didn't shift that wind? It was blowing from the east. That tree was even with the side gable. The wind shifted from the south, the back corner back there, and because of that, the tree fell at an angle, missing the roof by inches. One of the limbs that was broken off, that big around went straight through the yard like a tent stake. Big old hole. I can't imagine standing there or being out when these things went down. House down the street, it tore up the carport, the roof, and crushed the SUV in front of the garage. Oak tree, 4 feet in diameter, 80 feet tall. I thought, my gosh, they're going to need a big old logging saw to get that out of there. Yeah. That was then. Everything's back to normal now. There's still houses that show the damage. Some people didn't have insurance. This is what was like after I got the tree cut. All the sawdust. Tore up the chain link fence. Lifted the cement and the post, and the whole thing's up in the air. Jeez. I couldn't believe the power of this. This was down the other street just adjacent to me. Transformer bucket, phone pole, power lines everywhere. You could not go anywhere in this town. You had to turn around. You couldn't go in a continuous way anywhere without a major tree and stuff falling. Anywhere. And the only way I got news, the TV stations, radio stations, everything was out. I'm working in the front yard. And a guy that lives all the way out, miles out in the country, that I had worked on the bus that his son rode. He goes, hey, how come you're not on my son's bus? I said, oh my gosh, what are you doing all the way over here? He says, I'm trying to get fuel. He said, nothing's open, the power's out, all the stoplights are out. He said, it's insane, man. I said, wow. I was joking. She and I, living room, looking out this window, watching the pines across the street in the dark. Like this. I said, oh my gosh, those things are going to come down. They didn't. And right when we were looking out the living room, we heard this loud crack. Boom! I mean, I felt it. And the whole window, the view was taken by branches. I said, oh shit, the oak fell down. I said, gosh, I hope it didn't hit the roof. I went out the front door, went over there, I looked. Oh my gosh, it missed it. There's my power line to the house ripped right out of the mast and everything. The power had already gone out before that. Yeah, it was a hurricane. This was a full-blown hurricane. And I talk about it because it had a profound effect. I'd never been through one before. Never. This is what the house looked like when I bought it. Doesn't look anything like that. Those 5 windows are gone. That color is gone. The roof is brand new. All the chimneys are gone. And that big giant tree back there, Jack and Jill, that was the oak I had removed in the spring of 2024. You can't tell, but the base was 3 feet plus. 10 feet behind the back southeast corner of the house. If that had fallen, it would have crushed the house. Completely flattened. I paid $4,200 to have somebody come and remove it. That was a job. Then they ground the stump for an additional $300. This house was gross when I bought it. It was a mess. I gutted it. It took them, I had gone by in the morning on a sped bus. Nobody was here. I came back after work at 5:30. I'm like, oh my gosh. They had it cut all the way down, and they had 2 big sections of the stump. Oh, they're here. I got to go, folks.